So, good evening guys, and welcome to another Sunday night P0. It is round 7, and tonight we head to Canada. Sorry for the small delay in getting the stream up. A little bit of delay, of course, with the real Grand Prix being on. It started a little bit late, so it's put everybody a little bit behind on the schedule. But of course, we are here, we are ready, and we are set for some good on-track action here at Canada. As we're on board with Rodders at the moment, he's our first man to set a hot lap. As I just quickly set myself up, we will go on board and just stay with the man in the house till we get some information on exactly what we need. So let's go here. So I think we've got everything we need. Since we're a bit delayed, I'll just get focused on the action ahead. We can get a championship. Oh, need to turn that down. I do not want to hear myself twice. Apologies, chat, when you hear that double up. I do apologise. Gratefully, as Rodders comes into the final hairpin now. Tucks it up nice into the apex. Picks up his throttle just a little early. You see that provoke the understeer and pull the front of the car towards the outside wall. DRS pop open, and the last chicane, the make or break point of your lap at Canada, it's how much are you willing to attack the inside curbs. Let's see, Rodders, he's very cautious on entry, but gets a nice exit, gets the DRS open, he's heading to the line. I think it's going to be somewhere in the 12s off the rip. He's going to do a 12.3, he sets the pace so far. We have a McLaren, no, I think it's not Keita, it is Shiv coming in behind, but I think Shiv is on an invalidated run, and Keith there picks up an invalidation as well. We've got Mick coming down the barrel here as Dale Hunter sets the pace now in 11.1, but Mick here, he's going to be close. It's an 11.8 for Mick, he slots it into P2, whereas Bilton Matt, Mika Landa now sets the pace with Bilton Matt, his teammate, 10.6 for Mika. Bilton looking at very, very steady at the moment, and I'm pretty sure Bilton won here last season. Skarma now first man into the 109s, so the lap time's really starting to come down for the guys. Bilton, of course, on the medium compound at the moment, so that's going to be impactful on his final run. It's not going to be representative to the pace, sorry, to what his final run will be, but we'll get an idea of how far off the pace he is. He gets very aggressive on the second part of the chicane there, picks up a good exit off the last corner, and it's going to be an 11 flat on the medium tyre, so that's probably about a 10.4, so he's right on pace with Rob Wills, Leon Evans at the moment. So Dixie coming to the line, and he's going into the pits, so he's not on one. I thought he was maybe doing an extra run there. How was Keith getting on? Let's look further down. Yeri all over the back of Rob Wills. Is Rob Wills on another lap? Let's go round. Was he let through? Let's see if Rob Wills attacks. So my game is playing funny beggars. I am not seeing mediums on Adam's tyre, but apparently it is, so let's go to Dixie, because, oh no, it wasn't, but it was showing me soft compound tyre on Dixie's car. Apparently though, that is the mediums. Good evening, Skarma, I hope you are well. I'm a very refreshed boy, and looking forward to some good on-track action. If it's headed to the go with the Grand Prix we just watched, then it will be an exciting one. So Keith coming down the back straight, he's on a valid lap this time around. And as it stands at the moment, he's probably higher end of the 112s. DRS will pop open. Good evening everybody to joining us. Now it's going to be a higher end of the 111. Keith, I apologise sir, how dare I put a second on your lap time. This is where I miss Jensen, because he is the man. Stephen, friend, are you here? He is not at the moment. Alwyn Evans, seen good glimpses of Alwyn in the first couple of races. I think he's had a couple of races thereafter, but he's maybe not quite got the pace that he wants. As Matoma now goes on to pole by just a tenth of a second, but look how close it is between our top three. It's been the way of the things in P0. A 41.6 for Alwyn, he's right on the pace at the moment, tucks up nicely to the apex, picks up his throttle beautifully, gets a nice launch, then starts heading down this back straight to the last chicane to fold out his lap. And I think Alwyn here, he's low 10s inbound. And it's a 10-2 for Alwyn. He goes into P4. That's more like the pace we know the guy has. Rob Wills on another lap, so we'll just stay with him at the moment. Good evening, SPW. It's a pleasure to have you in the chat room, as always on a Sunday evening. Rob Wills breaking even sector 2, so the lap times not quite came to him just yet. DRS open for Rob. Has he got any more time in the last chicane? That's where it will be won or lost. And Rob dives away to the pits. We know Arwen was on a run. How was Matty getting on? Or maybe Matty was the man that won last season? I don't know. Good evening, Rob. Or Jock, I should say. Oh, Jock, you're not on track. Oh, you are on track. You're P6. That's a good lap, Jock. And Matty, now that's the aggression we like to see through that last chicane. And that is going to find them a lot of time. Matty's going to be close. Here he goes, a 9.8. He's half a tenth away from Mattoman. So Matty looking very good on the pace, because of course Mattoman done it in his second run. Dixie, is he on a lap at the moment? He is. Couple of tenths up. Now I don't know if this is a medium or a soft compound tyre, because the game is just being the game. So we just go to 50 tyre, I think that's best. And Adam is very good again through the last chicane. DRS open, keep the car to the right hand side, shorten the distance all the way to the line. He improves to P11, it's a 10.9, 4 tenths gain. And Jock just doing his bits there to stay out of the way. Luckily Adam is just coming round on an outlap. Now will he go for a second run here, but he's missed his apex at 3 there quite massively, so that's probably the lap gone even if he was pushing on. Let's see sector 1, yeah, half a second out. Dale Hunter's shown 4 tenths to the negative. Mick just started the lap. How's Speech getting on further back? He's winding through sector 1. Nearly 3 tenths up sector 1 for Speechy. Gets all over the curb on the inside, but then he just picks up the throttle and has to get out of there. The DRS will pop open and he will head down the back straight. How's that in the Alpine, getting well out of the way? Good man, Yeri. DRS open. Brown Dog there improved, I think, across the line. He did, he went to P15, and Speechy's going to miss his initial apex. Gets the exit, not too bad though, and I think we could see an improvement here for Speechy. And it is an improvement. He finds nearly a second, gets himself to P15 and right in the mix with the guys now. I mean, did we see an improvement further up there? Rob Wills, he's back on an outlap. I wonder if we're going to see many guys bop onto that medium at the end of the session and start the race on that. And of course, will we see the 2-stop come into play at Canada, because they can be used and used very, very effectively. So that's something the drivers really need to think about. The soft medium or soft medium soft is very, very good. So there is strategy in play if the guys want it. Built him up. Let's see, split up to sector 2. He's very good in the curbs there. I think he is going to be up here. He's looking very tidy indeed. Half a tenth. But of course, with the grip being that close at the front, if he even finds a tenth or two, he'll get himself onto that first or second row of the grid. So he doesn't need a bag of lap time, he just needs a bit. Let's see through the last chicane. Just needs to keep the lap valid now. And that is nicely done there from Bolton. And he chooses to go over to the racing line. That's going to cost him a tenth all the way, but it's a 109.9 for Bolton Matt. And that could have quite easily been a bit. Rob Wills on the medium tyre, he does a 109.763. And that is a stunning lap from Rob onto pole position on the mediums. 1 second, chat. Just like that, and big chat. Apologies. Good evening, Mick. It's good to have you in the chat room. Where's Jock getting on? Looking much more competitive days, Jock. Using all of the culbit 1 and 2, that's good to see. Oh, 3 and 4, sorry. And he's going to back out the lap, so maybe he's not on the fuel load that he needs at the moment. Michelando just opening the lap. So let's see how he gets on. It's a very delicate traction zone out of 2 as you go back up the hill, and then 3 and 4 come out, you're thick and fast. It's about attacking the curbs as much as you dare. As you come through 4, you really want your left hand side of the car to be all over the grass. I know it seems very counterintuitive, and then, oh, and Mika just misses his apex there by half a foot, which just puts him completely out of line for this next DRS zone. But let's see how much lap time it's cost him, if any, at the moment. He's very good in the cup. He picks up an invalidation, and that was harsh from the game there. For me, his inside or his outside tyre was well within the limits of the track. Where else do we have his way down? So I think he got out it. So where do we have Shiv on another run here? Is he going back to back? Oh, he's out of energy. I think that'll just be into the pit, so I think Dixie's our lead man. He is not, because he's picked up an invalidation on his lap. So Mick 4 tenths up, so Mick looking to bring that right down into a low 10 at the moment. Could he squeeze into the 9s and put some form of battle in at our front 6 drivers? Only 2 tenths separating our top 6 at the moment. And Mick to the line, he does get the 9, he goes to a 9.9, he slots in between Shiv and Bill Tomat, and look at that grid really starting to stack now. So Leon Evans sitting in the back straight, bit of traffic here, so hopefully these guys choose to scamper off down the road or stay well out his way. I think they're going to scamper off down the road, but Leon Evans coming into the box, so that's irrelevant. Dale Hunter here, I think he was on an invalidated run, so he was way off the time. Let's look further down. Brown Dog there coming through the first corner, and there's a big moment of oversteer, and Dale Hunter I think just opening the lap as well. And we've got cars absolutely everywhere in sector 1 here. The traffic's going to be a bit of a pain here as Brown Dog picks up an invalidation. And is Dale Hunter here? Is he on a lap? Yes, he is. Rodder's getting well out the way there, good man. And Rob Wells and Chubby Slug had enough at the moment. So they both on the medium tyre. Mataman run his medium 3 laps though. That may not be the strongest strategy. Shiv being blocked twice. Ooh. Gossip. We like to hear it. How is Skarma getting on? He's a 10th up on his medium tyre. And now he's 2 tenths down. So who's in the chat? MRD. Oh dear. Who's MRD? Who's Mr. MRD? Who is this? SPW says he loves Paul. He's a very good man. I think you're the only man, so let's see what's happening further down. Who have we got? Laverick, you on a lap shot? I think you might be. No, he's backing out, it's Laverick. Ah, nice to see you, Brown Dog. Brown Dog's friend, sorry. I'd just like to know who you're supporting. So Brown Dog, you have support in the chat. Let's go to him. Let's give him some screen time. Just for you, Mr. MRD. This is DRS Pups Open, heading down this back straight. Has he got any lap time in the pocket? A little bit off the pace at the moment, but Brown Dog does race better than Shiv. Now on his soft compound tyre, goes on to pole position at 9.5. The gap is not massive, and unfortunately Brown Dog through the last chicane picks up an invalidation, so that will drop his lap off at the moment. Is Dixie further ahead? The checker flag drops in qualifying, so Dixie can improve. It goes inside the top 10. Who do we have now? Arwen Evans. No, it's Speechy. So we'll go to Speechy. He's come out the last corner. The checker flag is fallen. Can Speechy improve? He does. Not only does improve, he finds 7/10 of a second, but not enough to get the lap time. Mika's not on one. Built on Matt coming down the back straight. On the soft compound tyre, into the last chicane he goes, tucks it up nicely, gets a very good X. Now keep the car right, Built on. Shorten the distance to the line. He goes to the line, he does improve, he goes P4. It's a 9.8 for Built and Matt, of course, he's on that soft compound tyre. But here comes Matty. Matty looks strong earlier and he cuts in too early in that last chicane. Picks up an invalidation and that will be qualifying over. Shiv onto pole position on that alternate strategy. He will start on the soft compound. Rob Wills P2, Chubby's log 3 there, both in the mediums. Built on Matt P4, Matty P5, Scatma 6, Mika Lando 7, Mick P8, Alvin Evans P9 and Dixie rounds out the top 10. Good job for Shiv. And now he has that advantage on pole position. He just needs to get a bit of gap. And he can start to control his strategy. So, we're waiting Mika Lando get into his box and then the curtain will fall on the session. Outside the top 10, Leon Evans, Jock P12, but Jock's right in the pace here, so good effort from Jock. In fact, there's nobody really well off the pace. I think even Brown Dog, although he looked 4.5, 5 tenths, I was on my lap earlier and he was about tenths up from that, so he's definitely right on the field as well. But there we see Shiv taking pole, and then look at the gap, 2 tenths, second, third, fourth and fifth, all 2 tenths off of pole position, so that is very, very competitive. Then we have a 3 tenths gap in P6, 3 tenths gap for P7, 4 tenths for P8, 6 tenths for 9, 7 tenths gap, splitting our top 12 drivers. So we are set for an exciting one at the moment. David Brown, I assume this is Brown Dog, the man behind the Haas. Good evening, Mr. Brown Dog. I hope you are well. Seen some improvements today, Brown Dog, as well, when I was on board. It's nice to see. Even if it's only little bits all add up, and then it becomes a big bit, and then you're beaten every day. Just keep your head down, mate. You're doing well. So we will wait for the formation lap. I will grab this time to quickly grab a little refreshment to chat. So bear with me 30 seconds. So Mr. MRD wants to get going. I'm back. He's like, alright, let's get some racing. I want to see Brown Dog beat everybody. I agree, Mr. MRD. So we just wait on the guys getting going. I'm not quite sure what the delay is. Let's go, go, go. Oh, that's a good Murray Walker quote there, Mr. MRD. God rest his soul. Good man. You made my hair standing in a bit when I said that there. That shows you how good Murray Walker was for the sport. Oh, you can actually hear him saying it as well, can't you? Oh my god. Like when you say it in your own head, you hear Murray Walker screaming it. Well, let's go, go, go. What here? Hey, hey. No need for that. Saying I've got alopecia or something, Adam? I'll alopecia your face. So the timer has started. 15 seconds to go, and the guys will get set for the formation lap. And of course, differing strategies. Second and third on the grid on the medium compound tyre, Shiv on pole on the softs. And my cat is trying to eat a plastic bag. That's not good. Right beside me. Bold as a coot. So, P0's Canada GP gets set on its formation lap. Row 1 we have Shiv and Rob. Row 2, Chubby and Built on Matt. Row 3, Matty and Skarma. Row 4, Mika and Mick. Row 5, Alvin and Dixie. Row 6, Leon and Jock. Row 7, Yeri and Laverick. Row 8, Dale and Keith. Row 9, Rodders and Speechy and Brown Dog at the back there on his own. Row 10, P19. But I am sure. Oh, and Brown Dog and Speechy both get disqualified from the session. I think there was a little bit of contact there on the roll into turn 1. So let me go. Actually, the smart play here would be grab a restroom break chat as well. So, Shiv rounds the last hairpin. Will he choose to check the pack up and just slow it down a bit? Thank you, Mr. MRD. It's a pleasure to have you here. I do try, although my accent sometimes makes it a bit tricky. And look at this, a bit of tactics going on built on that. Letting these medium guys say, look, on you go. You can have the heat in your tyre, but I'm going to take some off you. Dale and Keith both getting disqualified from the session as well. But Built on try to get a bit extra temp as they roll into the line. And Rob Wills and Chubby Slug also checked up a bit. So Shiv will sit in his pit box here for just a little longer than he would like to. Rodders, the man at the back, he's just coming into the last chicane now. So in he trots. We will sit with Rodders because he'll be the last man to take a grid slot, and then we will get to the front of the grid. P0's round 8 at Canada will be set to get going. That is a terrible camera angle. Let's get position changed first. And you're really not going to make us watch from here. Game it our way as P0 has 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's lights out. There was a long hold, but they are away now. And who gets the better phase on the tyres at the start? And Chubby Slug from P3. Look at that, he's went right round the outside. And Chubby Slug leads into one. Rob Bill's on the inside as well. And Shiv's been shepherded back. He falls to P3. He just couldn't get the launch. He struggled out. Mika Lando managed to get through on Skarma. Matty also got the jump and Built on man off the start. Let's look further back down the grid. Mick lost out 4 positions. Leon's dropped down 2. Laverick up 5. Laverick from P14 in the grid. Somehow he's got to 9 in turn 1. There's contact further back in the grid. Jocks went round. I think he's had a moment. Has he got any damage? I don't think so. So the grid continues. Matoman though with a great start. He somehow on the medium tyre gets the initial phase of the launch, crawls round the outside to take the inside line into one, and just sweeps past. But look at Matty all over the back of Shiv. Shiv struggling in the early phase of the race at the moment. He just needs to find his feet, settle down and get himself into a rhythm. Shiv damage, let's have a look at that. That's a good shout. No visible damage at the moment, but of course sometimes the game doesn't look like you have damage, but you definitely are wounded. And look at Laverick. Laverick on the move again. He's looking at Albin. He goes down the inside. They'll be side by side getting into the chicane, but he will get that move done. Albin's not going to fight it. Oh no, they're going to continue side by side through the chicane. Now Dixie will capitalise on this. Albin's pushed wide. Dixie will now go through the inside line, and he manages to capitalise in that position. And Dixie's got to look at Laverick and think, man, this guy's pacing the mediums, I just need to go with him. He's going to catch the grid up, but look at our top six. Absolutely nothing separating them at the moment. Mataman trying to check out the DRS. He's about that 0.8 of a second mark, but it's not quite getting out. Oh, excuse me, chat. My drink just went the wrong way. So DRS will be activated next lap round. A fox amongst the chickens. He's all over the back of Laverick as well, so Adam's showing some good early signs on pace. Keith. I love a man named Keith. Up 5 positions, well spotted Mr. MRD. We'll go on board with Keith. He's pushing on, he gets the energy, and he's eyeing up Albin now. Can Keith get the move on Albin? He's full sent on the energy. He's gaining and gaining. Is he going to get close enough? I don't think so, because Albin's tucked up in that toe of Dixie. Will he go to the inside? He thinks about a big move there as Chubby Slug sets the fastest lap of the race, and Albin gets a big tank slapper out the last corner, smacks the wall of champion as DRS is activated. And look at Keith, big send on the inside. Not this time around, it's not going to come for him. Let's look further up the grid. Where's the gaps at? I like to just be on the battles a lot slow. Skarma and Mika Land. I don't know if Mika got through there. Skarma touched a bit of the grass in the entrance to 2, and it just caught him out a bit. Keith back on the charge. He's still in the back of Arwen's. Dixie will be waiting on the DRS opportunity, which now comes up. He will get all the energy. Do you want to go through now? Probably not. I think Arwen will take the position straight back because he's going to have DRS down the back straight. But can Dixie use his pace? He doesn't want to drift wide like that too often, because that will pick you up damage. And look at Arwen now. He is stalking Dixie, and he'll just sit behind. You say, right, bit of Charles Leclerc tactics. You can take the DRS because I'm just going to try position and I will come back through. So here comes Laverick yet again on Dixie. And I think we're going to see Keith making a move as well. We'll watch from behind as we see 4 cars scamper, Laverick and Dixie side by side, and Dixie somehow holds Laverick back here. It makes Laverick get checked up on the exit, and now Alvin and Laverick will go side by side. Alvin got the better tyre, the more grip. He'll try and go right round outside, and there's contact. Laverick gets pushed in and then bounces back off, cuts Keith off in the racing line there. Keith ends up in the grass a bit, which checks up his movement, and Bilton Matter, first man of the race to pick up a time penalty at the moment. So Rob Will still staying in the DRS, but this is the thing, Matoman. Double the energy of Rob Wills at the moment. What's happening further back? Jock and Dale having a bit of a scrap. Jock, Dale and Speechy, here we go, further back. Let's see what happens down the back straight here. Could we see some moves? Is Dale's Hunter going to go early? Is he going to brave a move into the hairpin? You never see it happen. He goes round the long way out, right round the outside. He's been very respectful, leaves the space. Speechy also gives very respectful room. And look at that for a move from Dale Hunter. He'll get the DRS open and he'll just be able to drag away from the Red Bull. And look at Jock. Jock goes for Speechy. Is he going to eye up Dale's Hunter as well? Down the inside into the hairpin he goes, and he gets it. That's a great move from Jock. He managed to get 2 people on the back straight, and there we go. Jock up 2 positions, back onto his starting position, and he can start to recover some. And Matoman now picks up a time penalty at the lead of the race. Jock was very brave there. A nice committed move though. and he got the job done that he needed. Keith now on the back as we watch from his front wing. There's a good little battle. Oh, Keith has a bit of an oversteer there as he gets into turn 11. Nearly has a bit of a moment. We head now down to the hairpin and look at Alwyn Evans all over the back of Dixie. He tries to pick up the throttle early and you see it just fishtails the car, and that will cost him the time, and I think that will nullify the move. But Rob Wills now on Chubby Slug, he's all over the back of him. Are we going to see Rob make a move? Oh, Rodders and Leon Evans going again. Let's go back to this. Thank you, Mr. MRD. I do appreciate it. As now, Leon Evans down the inside on Rodders, and he manages to get himself back into the racing line. So for Leon now, it's bound on, but Leon nearly hits the wall, and he's just manages to keep the nose of the car away from the wall. Let's scroll back up. Skarma built on Matt, having a bit of a tussle further up ahead. Jock now picks up his first time penalty of the race. Canada, a really brutal track when it comes to track limits. In fact, this game in general is very brutal. And what's happened further back? Brown Dog is out. What's the contact? Brown Dog's out and it's in the wall. Safety car out. Safety car is out. Every driver on the medium tyre is now in big trouble. What do? Do they box? Do they force? Two stops probably the better strategy from now. Two stop works very well at Canada, but the guys on the softs. Oh, what happens? Let's see what Mataman does. So pit stops. Chubby Slug has stayed out. He's going to commit on to just doing a one stop. Rob Wells committed, right? Rob Wells now fully committed. It's a two stop for Rob. Medium to medium. He is fully committed on the two stop. And the thing for Rob, he's just good track position. He's still in P2. He's lost nothing. The guys coming around further back, they're not going to get it. They won't get out in front, although Jock will get up to P4. Dale Hunter up to P5, so they'll gain massively. But Rob Wells has lost no position on track, and he now has a fresh tyre. David Brown said, too much wine. Ah well, at least nobody put you in the wall, Brown Dog, that's all that matters. Dale Hunter and Jock, what's going on there? These guys are racing on as a position having to be given back there. Of course, no overtaking under yellow flags. So, Leon Evans picks up a time penalty for multiple warnings under the safety car. That's not the most ideal scenario. So let's see tyre. This is the important thing now. So Skarma and Mika could well be going to the end of this race. On the hards, I think we could see a fully committed. The hard tyre will do the... What are we asking? 18 laps? No, 28 laps? Ooh. 28 laps is a big stint. Yeah, I think Rob is in the driving seat at the moment. What's my name? I am OTL Alien. I'll just call me Chris. Chris works. Or Chris Alien. My gamer tag's been piss means he's going to run away with it. Rob Wells is going to piss it. It's going to be easy. My name's not Brian. SPW, what do you mean? What are you talking about? You're a Chad, Stephen. So the grid filters out. Let's get a running order of exactly where we are. Chubby Slug P1, Rob Wells 2, Shiv 3, Jock 4, Dale Hunter 5. So Jock and Dale Hunter of course chose not to pit, but they've waited for track position. It could be huge for them. Matty P6, built on Matt 7, Skarma 8, Mika 9, Dixie still in P10, Arvin 11, Keith 12, Laverick 13, Speechy 14, Leon 15, Yerry 16, Rodders 17, Brown Dog and Mick both are early retirements from the race. I'd love to know what happened to Mick. Oh, Brown Dog, no. Thought it was a wet race. Oh, did you see some weather then? So, is this maybe why? MRD Chris. I'm not MRD, what do you mean? Safety car in this lap. So, quite a sharp return to racing from the pack reforming itself. So Mataman's just get this back straight to let the safety car scamper away. And then of course he will choose. I have no idea what's going on. Oh, and Yeri and Lionel. Yeri gets a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision with Leon Evans, so he must have went into the rear of his car. So we'll stay with Matt as he weaves, and look at that grid of cars coming down the back straight here. So Mataman has the choice when to pull the trigger. A guy with fresh tyres behind you probably want to pull that trigger very late. But Mataman has went. He's out straight out the World Champions. He is on the energy and pushing away. Is there any gaps further back that may be worth looking at into turn 1? Jock and Shiv. But Jock just being a bit hesitant into turn 1, he's not wanting to take any risks. So Dixie will see the guys in front, he'll see that they're on, of course, the hard compound tyre. And got to use that to his advantage. Let's go back to Jock. Jock looking very comfortable as Keith picks up a time penalty for multiple warnings. I don't know if it's an enjoyment or not. Alwyn Evans, he was getting very close to and maybe Matty as well. I tried to stick with the relevant fights just so you're known, but I think Matty is going to push for a move on his teammate. When you see a big dive down into the hairpin, but Dale, nice and deep on the brakes. You see that he takes a slightly wider line, so Matty will need to try and get the traction off the last corner, tuck back into the toe, and see if he can get a run down the back straight. He looks at it, he thinks about it, but he's got off the energy, so it's not going to be a move this time around. What's happening further back? Closing up to Dixie, but nothing happening. What's happening between Laverick and Speechy? Leon's in this fight as well. Oh, chat, 1 second, my son has just come through. So I am back, chat. Just a quick one as we still Speechy and Laverick going hammer and tongs further ahead. Chris is his nickname, I've just seen Christopher Comms of the Year, I'll take that. A big move here on the inside. Speechy trying to bait Laverick off the line, and he nearly gets it, but look further up ahead, Dale's Hunter and Matty going through. But look at our lead 3, Robwell's having a little feint at Matoman there, and you'll see Matoman's tyres starting to give him a bit of issue. DRS will be reactivated this lap. Bang, there's a little notification at the top of the screen. It's Bilton, that's all over the back of Dale Hunter. Is Bilton going to go for a move down the inside? It's a big move in the brakes. He's going to need to be careful, and he's not quite able to. Dale Hunter very respectful, leaving the space on the outside. Takes the wider line. Dixie now still in the back of this fight, and he needs to get through. It's going to be a tough ask, but he's got to try something. And then look at the penalty stacking up in front of Dixie as well. Oh, and he's going to go on Mika, and he just missed his break in there. Ah, Dixie, that is unfortunate. So he goes round, he falls down to P15, P16 even. What happened to Adam there? So, the Matty Jock battle is about to ignite. Rob Wills 4 tenths behind. I will pay close attention to that gap for the lead as well. And that is coming down. Here goes Rob. Leader that change for the lead inbound. Rob to the inside line. And in the end, it's going to be a very easy DRS pass. Rob Wills will get through the World Champions. DRS open. And now he will check away. And has Mataman's tyre got what he needs to stay with this pack? That is the question. It's race critical for Matthew to try and stay here. I call him Matty, Chubby Slug, Mataman. He was Mataman, he's now Chubby Slug. It's Arwin Evans now is on the back of Miguelando, and can Arwin make a move that Dixie just couldn't quite make stick in the DRS turn? It's very hard, of course. There's 3 drivers in front, it's pretty neutralised. Shiv now all over the back of Chubby Slug. Chubby Slug starting to struggle. Mika and Skarma. Oh, and Mika went through into the hairpin, but Skarma, oh, he nearly gets the cutback, but he chose to be very respectful and leave the open line. I would have maybe not been so much. I think I would have been, I'd have been blocking that off. The guy's just shot deep. I need the track position, so I'm going to take it. But let's stay with a lead trio at the moment. We'll see if anything materialises on this. I'll keep an eye on the gaps further back. Of course, if I see any action about to arise, we will try and jump to it ASAP. SPW says FS Adam. I agree. FS Adam. God's sake. Silly man. He was running a good race as well. For that battle, nothing at the moment. This little midfield quartet though is an interesting one. In fact, it's more than a quartet now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers all in this fight. Dale's Hunter holding them all up, and Dale at the moment, of course, he chose not to pit. So Dale, for the sake of his race, this is exactly what he needs to do. He needs to fight these guys as much as he can. The more time he costs them now, the more opportunity and the smaller the gap once he pits to chase them. But Dale, I think, is going to struggle here. I think we'll see Mika, and Chubby Slug now loses that position to Shiv, and Chubby Slug's going to go to the pits. So Mataman into the pits on lap 12 of this race. And Biltermat and Jock both get penalties there out the last chicane, and Biltermat lifts the DRS. He'll go through. And we've got Mika Lando now. And look at this further back. We've got two guys side by side. It's Skarma and Keith in. Oh, I don't know what Skarma done there. Skarma seemed to have a little bit of a reaction there. Now gives a yellow flag, sector 1. And guys, just starting to falter a little bit. Chubby Slug comes out 5 seconds off the pack in P12 on the soft compound tyre. So soft for Matthew. Oh, and somebody's went round tail. Who's that? Arvin Evans having a moment. What's happening in lap 14? It's catching everybody out. What's happening between Dixie and Dillon? Dixie's got a puncture. Dixie's got a puncture. How does he get that? He's got no damage but a puncture. Daddy had some broken wing. And it's went from bad to worse for Dixie. He's going to have to land for the full lap. And look at the state of that front left tyre. So Dixie now really needs a safety car to try and save some of his race. Leon here coming for some of Laverick's Aston Martin, although he'll not be able to get it. Yellow flag, sector 2. Dixie, that's Dixie limping round to the pits. As Leon to the racing line, he goes the long way at 1. There's a bit of contact in Leon's round. No, and Arvin manages to capitalise on both of them. Ah, that is unfortunate. So up front, big change. Rob Bell's now 2.2 in the lead. Chev get a comfortable 2.4 second gap in P2. Built on Matt 4 seconds adrift from the top 3. And it's pretty much open gaps all the way to down to this DRS train that we're watching at the moment. Between Chubby Slug, Laverick, Leon, Arwin and Speechy. How did you get that, Adam? Just debris on the track? And down the inside goes Chubby Slug into the hairpin. We've seen a few guys make the move into the hairpin today. And of course, has he gave up the DRS though? He did not. So he will get the DRS, you see that flat pop open. But it's now a drag race between him and Laverick though. Laverick gets the nose of that Aston Martin back ahead for now, and they will drag all the way. They'll go side by side into the final chicane, and Laverick forces Mataman to yield. So Laverick with great defence, he also forces Mataman into another time penalty. Now Mataman will go to the inside line, will stay on board. He will have the better grip here, so that will allow him to just slot into that P11 place. But Mataman forced into another penalty there while competing, of course, coming to the end of the race. That's not going to... Nah, I'm not sure myself, SPW. It's an interesting one. We could just say that he Mataman that, I guess. So here he goes now in Leon Evans. just needs to pick up the DRS, and then will we see a big move into the hairpin. He is not bold enough to get it there. He will tuck in though, and it's going to be a DRS drag down to the line. And both guys will have DRS, so again, not an easy move for Matthew. Yeah, the early medium I think would have been the better strat, and then go for a fresh or soft against Rob at the end, but I don't know. So is that in the pits? Jock into the pits. I think that was from P6. So Jock taking his, I think that could be a second pit stop actually. Let's have a look. Stops. Where is Jock? Oh, it was not, it was just his first. Speechy picks up a time penalty for multiple warnings, and Chubby Slug eventually gets through, and Liam Evans up to turn 3. And now Chubby Slug's got to try and get through this next trio of cars. It's Keith, Arvin and Speechy up ahead. Skarma picks up another time penalty for multiple warnings at the moment. So, side by side go Keith and Arvin, and now the big drag race. Who's got the DRS? It's going to be Arvin Evans, so you'll see Keith will push, but then watch Arvin's Alpha just stretch its legs there, it pulls away, and Keith has no answers. And is Speechy going to think about a move? He is not, and Chubby Slug's right in this, and there's contact! Speechy and the wall. Leon Evans will need to be careful of that. I'm pretty sure Speechy must have some damage from that one. So, Chubby Slug gets a position for 3 there, and is he going to make the move? And Keith into 2 or turn 3? This would be a bold place to try and make the overtake. It's not going to come this time around, but we'll just stay with Matt. Yes, of course I can, young man. I very much can, Mr. SPW. Leon Evans picks up another time penalty for multiple warnings. So here goes Chubby Slug. He's got the DRS, as is Keith, though, so it's going to make, again, the drag race very, very hard. And one to watch here is a man in P5, because Mika could possibly go to the end of this race. And look at that, Mataman, just with a better grip, he'll get to the inside here, but he has to tuck back in behind. DRS will pop open. Keith also has the DRS, so Mataman's going to have to spend a bit of energy. They will get close, and Mataman will get through as we watch from his rear wing. Through he goes. Now he needs to catch Arwins and Mika as Keith picks up a time penalty for multiple ones, as does Speechy behind. Oh, I've lost my thing, chat. No. 1 second, chat. Apologies peoples, I gotta deal with the kiddies. So Matman on P6, it's all over the back of Mika Lando. He's going to get the move here because Mika won't have any DRS, so Matman about to make another overtake. It'll be an easy enough DRS pass. Through he goes on that soft compound tyre. Now up to P5, but of course, and a yellow flag, sector 1, who's that? Skarma retired in the pit lane. Arvin Evans also making gains, so my interest now is penalties, and look at that, it's 6 seconds and 9 seconds for a lot of people. Matty and Rob Wills keeping the penalties down, and the time penalties are going to be big changes at the end of this race, and Arvin will pick up another one there. He very much cut that corner there as he falls off the pace a little bit, so let's go to Speechy and Keith. somebody writing in the chat. Oh, so there was rain forecast. I can see it's coming now. Brown Dog, the overcast is starting to roll in. I was just actually about to mention that the blue skies are no longer so blue. So do we have some rain inbound? Of course, if the rain doesn't come, as Sorry would get on with this, his speech, he makes a great exit out of the last chicane. Gets an easy move on Keith there. He gets himself up to P9. Of course, Keith got 3 seconds in advantage to penalties. Chubby Slug now on the back of Built on Matt. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. Who's that? It's Keith. Let's see, still going, hopefully. Yes, he is. I think he's just had a bit of a moment on that inside curb. It's whipped the car round. Let's go back to the Chubby Slug Built on Matt fight though, because Chubby Slug is about to make another overtake. Rodders picks up a time penalty for multiple warnings. It's Chubby Slug now. DRS will pop open now. Another yellow flag in sector 2. I think that is a Haas car. And there comes the rain. So the rain is on very, very early from the cloud cover. Now, how hard does it come? That is the question. Track about to start getting very, very tricky. And if Mataman wants to make a DRS pass, he's going to have to get it done now. Because the DRS will be deactivated in the next lap or so. Is what's happened there. Mika Laverick in a very early call for intermediate tyres here. Now, this could be huge. Let's see how Robin that's getting on at the moment. DRS still well and truly enabled, so I think these guys have took a punt. It's about to hurt bad, because I think this tyre is not ready. And you see just the car bogging down. It's nowhere near time for that intermediate tyre, and the guy's trying to take a risk. It's just not going to come. Rob Wells continues on, and you see that inter tyre is just not harnessing any grip. And Dixie's got to think ahead and say, well, there is 3 positions here on offer for free. Built on Matt and Chubby Slug. Chubby Slug gets that DRS move done now. Built on Matt, very brave to still be on energy through the acceleration phase of an exit of the corner. So, does the rain come to anything, or are we just going to be living with some greasy conditions for the duration of the race? Oh, Leon and Laverick, oh, excuse me, chat, as they go through into the last chicane. And again, DRS still activated. So these guys that are on the intermediate tyres just now, they're trying to stay out, but it is going to destroy these tyres. And then when the rain does, when it does get wet enough, I think the tyres could be dead. That is the issue they've got to think about here. So everyone, the Rangers started SPW, Michelando, Leon and Laverick all boxed for the Inters very, very early. DRS still enabled, so they're starting to really lose lap time. So I think it's now just a waiting game. The guys are just trying to see the tyre out until the intermediate comes into play. The driver at big risk here, of course, is Matoman. He's on a 10 lap soft. We're starting to see the speckles of rain though on the track. We've got a yellow flag at the hairpin. What's that? What's happened back here? Somebody struggling. Mika Lando, what has happened there? He's round. Has he picked up damage? He has not at the moment. So inter tyres going on, and Arwen's now round. Arwen Evans rounded 2 on the exit of the pit lane, and it's all going off now. On speech is off. The slick tyres are struggling. Slick tyres are struggling massively. So Inter tyre is very much in play. My mates have still got active DRS. Mataman will be having a better time in the soft compound tyre, of course. But the tyre is dead and Rodders is a big moment ahead of Mataman. He's in the wall. The guys are really struggling to find the grip in the circuit. Even those on the intermediate compound tyre, and this is what I said, those that went to the Inters early, they could be struggling. As Matty flies into the pit lane, intermediate tyres going on for everybody. So here we go. Game on. Dixie chose to stay out. Is he trying to get his lap back? I think he might be. And what's going on here? Chubby Slug stays out. See, DRS still enabled. Is the soft tyre? Now let's see. This is the gap I'm interested in. Let's watch this. And look at that, the gap's still going out. Built on Matt staying right with these intermediate tyres at the moment. Oh wow. Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. Yep, it looks wet, but it's not wet enough yet, SPW, I think you're right. And these slick tyres are working very, very well at the moment. Although Mataman looks to be struggling just a little bit there, though Rob Will seems to take about the same line through the corner. And now I think the Inters are starting to find their feet. Well, we see Chubby Slug now box. We got a yellow flag in sector 2, and that's Arwen Evans. He's had a moment, and Chubby Slug's in. So Will built on that follow. Does he feel he needs to go to the Inter tyres? Yes, they do. They've had enough. It's time to get off the softs. So Rob will also take back control of the lead of the race, and he has a massive advantage to Shiv now. I think it's about 3 seconds. It is 2.7 seconds at the line. So Speechy and Dale, they're still going on their slick tyres. They're very... No, I know, not good for my blood pressure at all. Michelando and Laverick having a bit of a scrap for the back, although the gap's a bit bigger. DRS is now being disabled, so no more free overtakes. If you want the track position, you're going to have to get it done on track, although the gaps now are well out. And Dixie somehow, I think here, managed to get himself back onto the lead lap. How has he done that? Arwen Evans now into the pits, and he had to box off. I think he maybe had to take a wing change. So Keith will go through on Arwen. And look at this, Dale and Speechy having a bit of a battle. Dale has to go across the corner. He's just not got the grip. And these guys really need to be careful going through the last sector here, or the middle of the second sector and last sector. Do not have a big moment now. Could be disastrous for your race. And a nice, I don't even know what part of the wing that is we're looking from. And we're looking very rightwards there. That was a horrible karma angle. I hope Codemasters never show me that again. And Dale's had a moment. He's missed the braking into the hairpin. The tyres, look, there's just no grip. There is no grip. Speechy has to box, he is going in. I think Dale's going to go in as well. He has no choice now. And Dale is into the pits. So Chubby slugged out. He has the wet conditions to contend with. We've seen that he has been strong. There is 8 laps left. What can he do? 1 second, chat. So, where's the gaps? Chubby Slug all over the back of Matty still. This is the fight. Oh, Arwen on the back of Keith. We can go at that one. That's a little bit closer for now. So SPW, who do you think's been driver of the day so far? I think Matty's my call, honestly. Matty's had a very, very strong race, although this man right here, oh no, and he's having a box. No, Jock, why are you pitting? Jock about to look, oh, and he got some damage. No, Jock, that's so unfortunate. No, I'm gutted for Jock there, he'll fall to P10, can he hold it? He's got Keith and Arwen coming down this back straight, he needs to get to that limiter zone to try and get out in the lead into turn 1, if he can. He may be able to retain the position, it's going to be very close here, as we see Keith going through, and Arwen Rodders gets out of the way. Fair play there to Rodders, just not wanting to get involved in that fight. Speech now gaining on Laverick, and Chubby Slug's lost a bit of time to Matty. Speech, you know, big made big gains. Will there be any overtakes? Got to be careful what happened in the rear there. Got to be careful not picking up any damage. And Speech, he used as much of his engine braking as he could to try and get that car to slow down, but it just wouldn't come. But we'll see here, he'll tuck into the toe ERS on, of course, no DRS, it's wet. And once you get out of that toe, it's very hard, and look at the straight line speed in that Aston Martin. He's just not got the straight line speed to get the move done in the straight, and Laverick, he's got a very tasty wet setup on the car there. Chubby Slug right in range of Matty yet again. Let's look penalties, just 3 seconds for our two guys up front. Will Mataman be able to make this move? He's not pushing too hard on the energy. So the Speechy and Laverick battle will continue, we will stay with them. We've got Arwen Evans and Jock fighting as well. Look at this. Look at these three. Arwen looking in the inside to turn 5, not this time around. And Chubby Slug now, he is very close to Matty. It was on the main straight, and we've got a yellow flag. Who's that? No, Jock! No, I'm gutted for Jock there, man. He's had such a good race today. Been a few standout guys today, honestly. Leon Evans has been very good. I've seen him right up there fighting. Speeches on for a great result as well. That's been very good. Matty, I think Matty maybe just edges it because he's managed to keep it clean. And Mato, man, we see there, I'm really trying to eye Matty out of position, which he does. He's able to stick the nose into the hairpin. Oh, and Mato, man, nearly goes round. He's too aggressive on the throttle. And that will give up all that time he just gained. And look at Speechy. Oh my god, he was over speed. He was carrying the goes for a big set down the inside. There'll be a bit of contact. And that's a huge move from Speechy. Great overtake there. Laverick had to react to it, but I think that was fair. That was a very good SPW. We were proud of that type of dive bomb. Jock, I'm gutted for you, mate, because you were having a great race, man. You were driving very, very well today. Take that into the next one, Jock, though. You know, you've got to take confidence for your performance today. Chubby Slug gets himself back in range-ish of Matty. 4 laps to go of this. It's been a very good Canadian Grand Prix here on P0 this Sunday evening. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. So what is Matoman's tactic? Matty again out of line. And Mataman now much better on the traction off that hairpin. But Matty's so fast in a straight line. Mataman just cannot react to it. Maybe Mataman's like, what's the point fighting this? I could end up in the wall on more penalties. I've just got to sit behind maybe. The guy behind me's got the same penalties. I'm safe in P4. He's maybe just accepting that. As Yeri picks up another time penalty. Alwyn Evans on the back of Keith. Keith, another standout driver today. He's done very, very well. And I don't think anything's going to materialise of that. But Chubby Slugs is close as he's been to Matty now. Off turn 12, getting the move into the up, and he's not going to be able to make it this time around. Matty though, struggling a little bit to take up his apex. Matman trying to get that steering wheel as straight as quick as he can, but he's just been too aggressive. Way too aggressive on the throttle. That will spin the rear of the car up and just stop any opportunities coming. And the gaps have moved out a bit, so let's go to our leader, Rob. Since he got to take control of that strategy in his way, Matoman choosing not to pit in that early safety car, Rob has drove very, very well today. And there's a yellow flag. Oh, that's just Rodders letting the lead cars through. Respect to Rodders for that. But Rob has drove very, very well today. He's kept his nose clean. He's stuck to his job. And yeah. And who is that? Is that Arwin Round? It is Arwin Round and in the wall. And he's got damage for good measure. And somehow now Dixie has managed to drag that Ferrari's carcass back to P11. And he's going to get P10. Somehow he will finish where he started. So, can Chubby Slug get the move done on lap 33? Is he going to give us some action? Not this time around. Jock picks up another time penalty for multiple warnings. As Arwin goes into the pits, he'll need to take a new wing on lap 34, that's ouch. KB9, yes, Keith has done very well, top 10. A solid top 10, he'll drop to P11 with the penalties, but still I think P11 he can be very happy with. He's been in the thick, he's been in the fight today. That, I think once the wet running came, the gaps, they split everywhere, but he's been very much in the tussle today. It's been a very enjoyable race. And I'm glad you've been here, Mr. MRD. It gets a bit tricky to commentate when the gaps open up, and of course there's not much to talk about, but I always just try and keep it on the action. Is Mataman here looks at a big move, again gets Matty out of position, but Mataman on this tighter line seems to struggle getting the power down. It's just not working for him. Dixie on the back of Keith. Keith's going to get one last bit of action. In fact, let's go to Rob. He's on the last lap of the race. He's been faultless today. But we'll go with the Ferrari man. We'll let him have a lap of honour. As he barrels through Sector 1, the 88 car. The man in red. He's probably been Chubby Slug's biggest championship contender, I would say. He's posed the biggest threat. And he is announcing that threat yet again. And reminding Matthew that he's very much still here. In fact, this may even extend Rob Wilsey's championship lead. I think Matoman had let the championship lead slip last week. So now that gap is going to open up. Alvin Evans retires from the session. He will still be classified though if they work it off the road. It's on the last lap of the race, so think he will still get, in fact he'll even get P15, because I think Rodders is behind him on track even through this last lap. But Rob Wills down the back straight for the last time. We'll go on board. It's been an utterly faultless display, as I say, from the man in red as he comes through the chicane for the last time. The conditions got tricky, but he kept his nose clean. He uses every bit of energy he's got left, and he will take the checkers flag at Canada. Rob wins the Canadian GP. Shiv will come home for a solid P2. Matty, penaltyless and under relentless pressure from Chubby Slug, will hold that P3 on track. Chubby Slug recovers a P4, but he'll fall way off in penalties. He will stay P4. See you next week, Mr. MRD, if you are here, of course. Built on Matt heads down the road as Dales Hunter starts to get classified. And Built on now will bring his Alpha Tauri home. He will get P5 at the flag. Leon will come home for P6. Speechy and Mika. What happened to Mika Lando? Was there a bad contact there? I'm not sure. Speechy up to P7. Leon Evans through the last chicane as well. Mr. MRD says GG Rob. Yes, very much. GG Rob. Leon gets P6. Speechy will come home for a P7, but he will lose that to Mika. Mika will get up to P8 on the penalties. P7, Speechy down to P8. Laverick will come through the last chicane. And can Dixie, has he got enough in the pocket through this last chicane to get that gap down? 6.5, 6.2, 6.1, 6 seconds, 5.9. Dixie's going to get him at the line. He's going to get in the penalties. He gets P9 by 1/10 of a second. So somehow Dixie recovered from a lap down with no safety car, gets himself back in to the running, and then grabs a position gain from his starting position at the end of the race. Very good job for Dixie. But Rob wins. It's Shiv P2 and a top job for Matty in P3. We'll see if we can get them three guys in for a little chit chat, so bear the blue screen for one moment, guys, and we will filter through our guys and get them in for a chit chat. So who have we got? We got Matty 1289, is that right? Is that the right Matty? Let me just double check. Don't want to invite the wrong guy. 1289, yes it is. So get them in, and we'll get a little chitty chat. Let me plug my phone in, then my controller in so it doesn't die mid-interviews. That would be a bit awful. And let's get our top three in. So bear with me, top three, if you are listening in. I am coming with the invitations any moment. So we need Matty, we need Rob, and we need Mr. Shiv. Where's he at? Offline? I think he's offline. CH. Where are you at, Shiv? Oh yeah. Shiv, did you change your gamer tag? Oh, I've lost you. I'll just add the other two. They'll hopefully be able to add you in. So, we get the guys in for a chat. Rob joins us. Rob, if you don't mind, please, could you add Shiv? I thought I had him, but it would appear I do not.
I will do it now.
Thank you very much, sir. And then we will get on with some questions.
Have you added Matty, yeah?
Yes, I have Matty, but no Shiv. I thought I had Shiv. Don't know what's happened there. Thank you very much, sir. So we'll just start with you. Since you're the race winner, Rob, and you're the first man in. P1. We'll start with the elephant in the room. Matoman done Matoman things. That's all we can really say. We have the same conversation every week. But after that, it was just head down. And you never really look back, Rob, but it was faultless today. Absolutely faultless. Apart from the one penalty, of course, which we never want penalties, but one is better than many.
One is better than the 12 that Matman got, for instance.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously we knew rain were coming, you didn't, and as soon as that safety car came out, I thought, it's not telling me it's near enough, so I might as well just box and get a fresh set of mediums, because then I can definitely run to rain without having to stop again. And I knew everybody behind me on softs was 99% going to stop because their tyres had been dead anyway.
Yeah.
So I just kind of just went for it and thought, oh, the mediums, it might get to rain, and then if it does, I'm well away.
And they did,
coming out
I
dead still
assume.
in second. Yeah, I went straight from mediums then to inters. I thought I'd gone a lap early, but it turns out I hadn't. It was right on the crossover as I came out. I thought, oh, Matman might be getting away, but distance stayed same the whole way through. So I thought, right, we've gone at the right time. But him not boxing right safety car ruined him completely.
Yeah, it was a strange, especially so obviously I don't know the rain's coming, so I'm just calling the dries.
Though, is it?
Well, that's a very good point. That's a very good point, Shiv. Obviously I don't know the rain's coming, so from that point, if you're looking at a full dry race, the medium guys were in a tricky position, right? Because even boxing, if it was staying dry, the two-stop works very well at Canada. It can really compete with the one-stop. So I just assumed you were going medium, soft at that point, Rob.
Yeah.
Of course, not expecting rain. So I thought Matoman was just going to try and stretch it and try and fight you on maybe a one-stop. I thought that was his maybe initial thought. But then, of course, once Jock or somebody said in the chat, so much for rain, and then it clicked that the rain was coming, and it literally, as he said, that the drop started a couple of laps later.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously we had kind of the ability to know what was going on, so I thought I'd got to box when I did, and luckily it worked out perfectly because everybody else, I came out at the same place I went in, so I was in prime position then from fresh tyres till rain happened.
And then second and third stint, I guess we'll call it that, the full medium once you get clear on Matt and the inter, I guess it was just gap management then?
Yeah, while we were at mediums I felt comfortable. Me and Shiv were running nearly identical lap times, so I thought he's not catching me, I'm not pulling away, this is pretty nice. If we'd have had a full dry race it would have been good to see how it would have played out, but and then when I got on inters I hate wet conditions, it was basically just, I was in survival mode at that point. Just keep it pointing right way, don't pick up silly warnings and just drive to the end. I'd bridged Shiv to 4 seconds at one point. Then as it got really wet I started losing a lot of time, but luckily if another 2 laps I'd have been in trouble because Shiv was probably about 8/10 a lap faster than me at that point, so I'm glad it was over when it was because I was running out of ability at that point to keep car in a straight line.
And was there any signs of the inters being upgraded to wets? Was it getting wet enough for that kind of conditioning, or was it always going to be inters, it was just getting trickier and trickier as the race went on?
No, if another 5 laps left, I'd have gone into wets probably 3 laps earlier. It was really wet.
Oh wow! So it was a struggle at the end.
Yeah, really. I mean, I was just losing grip and time. It didn't want to stop. I was braking probably 100 metres earlier than you would normally with that wet at that point. It was just wild.
Wow! So that makes your win even more impressive then. So very good job, Rob. As I say, I think you did take over the championship lead last week, so that really opens your advantage now, right?
Yes, it does. Yeah, because Matman comes fourth.
Yeah, P4.
Yeah, that's a decent jump I've got there.
So you are now in the driving seat of the championship. I hope you charge forward. Matoman, I am sure will do more Matoman things. We hope he doesn't, and we have a good clean fight going forward. But it's Matoman. But very good job, P1. You're doing everything you need to do to head towards that championship. So great job today, mate.
Thank you very much.
Shiv, or P2, man. You take the pole position on the soft. Canada's a funny circuit, of course. Again, I didn't know the weather, but the soft and mediums in, you can really start the race in any tyre and it'll still work out. In hindsight, your start, what went on there? I'm not sure, just struggling in your initial phase, because Matoman went one side, Rob Wills went the other, and there was really, you couldn't defend it.
Yeah, no, that was exactly it. I just got a load of wheel spin off the line. And then it was a case of kind of making sure that I could stay with the mediums. The safety car came out at a really good time. And then yeah, maybe I could have had the race win, but I think 3 errors during that whole race probably cost me. The first one being the start. Second one being I took too long to get past the Matoman on a daft strategy. And then a third one, as me and Rob came out of the pit lane after putting the inters on, when trying to explore the grip in the middle sector where Vettel kind of let Button through in 2011. Corner there, just I went really deep there. And other than that, I was looking at mine and Rob's lap times. Pretty much every lap we were doing identical lap times, or he move away by a tenth, and I'd catch the 10th up.
So do you feel, Shiv, then that is your key moments there? I guess you can take positives though, right? Because you've seen you're right on the pace there. You know, if you have track position, you think you can win.
Not to say I'd have beaten Rob, but possibly. I mean, it's not to say I would have beaten Rob. He may have beaten me. I don't know how much Rob was pushing, but yeah, I definitely had the pace then. I'm quite glad to have second, although starting on pole, you always want to convert it into a win, really.
Yeah, well, that is the dream scenario for everybody, right? Pole to win, but still P2.
Yeah, happy with that. Solidify third in the championship for the time being.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just build some momentum now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a track I like as well, so yeah, I'm always happy to have a podium at Canada.
So good job today, Shiv. Again, another very faultless drive. You and Rob were. You, Rob, Matty, that we'll speak to in a minute, and Mataman, you four just seem to have a little bit your pace, especially in the critical phases of the race. I think when the tyres were in their early phases, everybody stays close, but then on a Sunday, as the stints drag on, you see some drivers really start to kind of stand out a bit, and I think it's your guys like yourselves, Rob, Matty today was very good as the tyres wore out, and Matoman, although he'll blow it in a strategy, but that's Matoman things. Yous are all very good and show your strengths when tyres get tricky. So I think that's where you're a big advantage. Very good job though.
I think one advantage I had was on Matty was after the safety car came and went, I picked up a really early penalty. Luckily I had a couple of cars as a buffer after the safety car to Matty, so I was able to build that gap and then stretch it. I was quite lucky really. Because at one point I thought I'm not going to get on the podium because of this daft penalty. It was so early as well.
But of course, especially in that wet phase, you and Rob just kicked on. You were awake, and your pace was just a bit stand out to everybody else in the conditions. So it was very good, mate. A very, very solid P2. And
thanks, Chris.
Yeah, man. Again, get some momentum built. I want to see Oi's just going at it every week because the gaps are very close. Just look at the qualifying boards. You know, if people don't have incidents, these races will be electric every single week, and that's what we want.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we've got a sprint race next weekend, so there's a good chance for points as well.
That'll be interesting. I like to hear it. So good job today, Shiv. Very good job on the P2. Matty, I think you joined us. Are you here, sir?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Matty. I think this is the first time I've spoken with you. Yes?
Second time.
Second. So second podium of the season.
Yeah.
P3.
Yeah, first one was Bahrain.
Do you think there was more there, Matty? Do you think you could have been in that fight at the front? You've of course had some early battles that maybe I felt you're fighting early maybe cost you some lap time to these guys at front.
Yeah, Canada's not a track I'm particularly fast at, so I don't think I could have caught them, to be honest.
Well, you may not be fast, but you're very consistent because you were one of the only guys not to get a penalty today. Did you have any warnings?
I got one on the second to last lap at the last corner.
And that was your only warning of the full race?
Yeah, it was.
That's mighty impressive at a track at Canada. So you may not like the track, but that shows you go very well at it, in my opinion. So P3, no penalties. So obviously you find a bit more time, you can probably get more. But in the whole, Matty, are you happy? You feel good?
Yeah, I'm happy. I think the traffic early on probably cost me a chance at Chiv. I think you just mentioned the safety car. I had my teammate in front of me and I'm trying to tell him move, but he wasn't having none of it.
Those pesky teammates.
Yeah, I think I worn out my mediums as well, and then by the time DRS came round, my tyres were just gone and I couldn't close that gap to Chiv.
Yeah,
it doesn't help when you know rain's coming as well.
I think you always drive a bit of trepidation when you know the conditions are going to change. And I think in dry conditions, Matty, I felt like you were right on the pace. Maybe the wet conditions, you were maybe just a couple of tenths off the pace of the guys at the front. But in dry conditions, I think you showed today that you really can mix with these guys at the front. 100%. I mean that.
You should do as last year's champion.
Wait, what?
He's last year's champion.
Wow. So, should I say I should read up in history? Or P0's history? I should know this.
Yeah, I think it's well known that I'm a bit rubbish at rain, if I'm being honest.
So, rain maybe not your strongest point?
No, not at all. I was surprised Matt man didn't get past me, to be honest, but maybe he settled just to finish behind me because he knew he had all them penalties.
Yeah, I think he did try a few times, but you were absolutely killing him in the traction phases, all the corners, especially in the damp conditions. He was really trying to push, and you were just driving away out, especially the hairpin. He was kind of unsighting you and forcing you to that wider line. But the wider line, of course, allows you to get your steering straighter quicker. And in the wet conditions, that's exactly how you want to be driving, you know.
Yeah, he nearly spun a few times on that hairpin you're on about. I
Yep.
noticed that every lap.
Just being very aggressive, trying to get the move done. So you had him rattled for a good period of that race because he wanted to, but he just couldn't get it.
Yeah, need to try get some practice in for these European races coming up and try and get some points back to Rob.
Yep, I that's what I was just going to say. So now that you've got that second podium of the season, do you aim to start building some points up and show these guys that maybe they might have a gap just now in the championship, but you are not going to go down or lose the defence without a fight?
I'll definitely be putting up a fight. Got some races coming up that I like, so full send.
That's what we like to hear. So very good job today, Matty, on the P3, and with the no penalties. To only have won one like Canada's mightily impressive, in my opinion. That deserves an extra position in its own, in my opinion. But good job, mate.
I wasn't driving fast enough to get a penalty.
P3 says you were. I don't know, you know. You were quicker than 17 other guys. So very good job, Matty. P3, it was a very, very good effort, and yeah, hopefully yourself, you'll kick on now and start to take it to Rob and Shiv Mataman maybe if he doesn't mess up. I hate to keep digging him like that in the comms, but he knows he's going to get it all the time. So, one last thing, my driver of the day, I like to call it in P0, and it was quite an open choice. I would say that the driver, if you take the wet conditions out, right, I'll call two here because there was a standout driver in the dry. Jock was very, very good today. Jock, if it stayed dry for me, Jock was P5, P6 in the race, and he was going to finish there. But then it all just kind of fell away. So dry condition would have been Jock, but in the race as a whole, Matty, without a doubt. I think Rob and Shiv were very good, but although he maybe didn't feel fast, he was obviously driving the most consistent to have one penalty near the end. I think Rob and Shiv should still be recognised with the pace they had out front, but Matty in the whole, I think he is the collective driver of the day, or it would be mine. So that would be that one. So on that note, that'll be us for this week, guys. P0 will be back next Sunday with a sprint race. I didn't even know that, so that makes me even more excited. That is good to know. That's funny. That's where we go to our next sprint race as well, so it gives us a pre-look. That's what we like to see. So, very good job to Rob, to Shiv, to Matty. A very good and deserved podium brought by them all. And of course, the race win for the Rob and the championship lead extended. The channel will be live again tomorrow with OTL, who head to Austria, I think. Yes, it's Austria. So we will see yous then. Take care.